As well. Right. Police officers ranks among the lowest paid public officers and work under difficult conditions. And we know on several occasions the government has set up commissions and task forces to professionalize the service, improve the terms and conditions of service of officers, and ensure a motivated outfit. Among these was the Governance, Justice, Law and Order Reforms program under the NAC administration, which created legal policy and institutional changes that transformed its operations. It triggered major changes, including improved compensation, quality housing and equipment. Police reforms got a major boost under the current constitution that saw the transformation from a force to service, ostensibly to humanize and create a responsive institution. The government has since formulated 2 strategic plans to actualize the reforms. The latest, published in 2015, was a 3-year plan anchored on 4 pillars, including professional excellence. Underpinning this is enhancing training, equipping police with people skills to improve their interactions with the public, and proper compensation. National security is premised on a motivated police service. That is why we are surprised at the development in the National Police Service, where officers who attend university degrees and those who with disabilities are being forced to take a pay cut as a result of a policy change that seeks to reward staffers according to rank and not educational accomplishments. Of course, we want to hear from our panelists. So what does this really portend for the police officers? There has been a new development, of course, from the courts as well. I'll give you the details of this on this regard. But according to labor laws, it is, of course, a violation of human rights to have a salary cut, so to speak. I'm not really a legal expert on this, but of course I should be given room, and I stand to be corrected as well. It is always important to actually have a good communication. But why is this happening? And there has been this particular row, I understand, even from last year, that has now really come a cropper with the latest development. We want to hear from our panelists this morning. Let's begin from Professor Noami Dwamba. From your classroom, police officers, are they, of course, enrolling for different courses? Especially, I know also you have a new curriculum on security as well. But you can tell us more about, yes, the graduates that we have from the police force and this particular new development, just very briefly, before we drill deeper with our panelists.
Debarl, based on my experience in the United States, is that police in United States and elsewhere in developed countries are service to the people and to the nation. The higher the education attainment they achieve, the more they are rewarded as professional. And therefore, we need seriously not only talk about this or write about this, but we need change. We need change of attitude. We need a new mindset for our police, from the force to service. And in the centrality of service, yes, is the right of the citizen and the community relations. And people in Kenya, most people in Kenya still view police as someone not to get close to, basically coming out of the colonial days. And we need to change that. We need to change that attitude by the way we reward them. We have some excellent police service people that I have interacted with. But majority is a real problem. And we have a really serious problem with corruption. And therefore, unless we deal with that, where we actually fire people for their act, where we take people to court and provide evidence and remove them out of service. Unless we're very serious about that, we are going to continue the way we are, all right, which is not acceptable.
Okay, let's hear from Dr. Burunga on this particular development with the police force. So we have a very demotivated, I should say, police force in this country, or police service in this country. So what does it portend for the security of the country as well?
I think, Debarl, I want to start from this point that when we started police reforms, and again, I'll say I was part of this from the beginning until we got the laws, until they were enacted in Parliament, then we handed over to the government. The essence of police reforms, like you said, there were 4 pillars, and one of them is about professionalizing the police service. So you cannot change a force into a service unless you capacitate them, you professionalize them, and you have what everybody knows is called a paradigm shift. When you read about a paradigm shift, it speaks about it being violent, because you have to move this person or this mindset from here to here, and you must work in a manner that they'll have no choice but to move to this position. So the essence of police reforms was actually a paradigm shift in our policing system in this country. And one of the reasons why we were discussing about a paradigm shift is because we realized most of our police officers were joining the forces with the very low grades, D+, D plain. And therefore we say if we want to professionalize this police service, while you can retain the issue of D+ or D as a minimum, but we also need to assist these police officers who are already in the service to go back to school. Because policing is now becoming digital, is becoming technological, and therefore we are saying that for us to have a police service that will meet the needs of the Kenyan people, then we must assist these officers to go back to school. What has shocked me is that the National Police Service Commission, which is supposed to encourage police officers to go back to school, is the one that has come out with these things. And you people maybe may not know, one of the things that the National Police Service Commission was created was to come up with policies and guidelines on how police service is managed in this country. And one of the policies was to deal with education and professionalizing the police service. So if they don't have that policy, and I'm shocked that they can wake up one morning and say we are not paying these officers because it was not legal. I did not understand the regime behind why the chairman said that. But I know that the thinking behind police reforms was to actually increase the education level, professionalize the police officers, make them be conversant with technology in policing in the world, and therefore officers were encouraged to go back to school. Now, if I want to relate this to the military, there are two ways you could join the military. One, you join as a cadet, therefore you go in as a military officer and you become a second lieutenant and you grow. You can go in as a private, you're encouraged to go back to school, and when you attain those qualifications, the system in the military was that you will be taken through a channel to become an officer through the cadet system or through what we call growing through the ranks. And the essence of encouraging police officers to go back to school is to make them grow in their profession. Now, how do you come back and say, because you're a constable and you cannot earn like an inspector, yet one of the recommendations we made in police reforms is that we need to restart the direct entry inspectorate in the police service. Which means you come in as a graduate, or you come in as a whatever level, you can go in as an inspector, you train more than, actually it was 15 months, then I'm told they cut it down as usual. They cut it down. We had said the police officers must go through an attachment of 3 months. It was removed because the essence of doing that was actually to professionalize the police service. So I find it very strange, Debarl, that when we are talking about reforming and growth of the police service, and ensuring that our police service is educated enough, they are being discouraged not to go back to school because of salaries.
Or they're vilified because of going to school in the
It
first
is
place.
very unfair. It is not good for this country, because how do we then attain a technology savvy police service? How do we then professionalize our police service if we are not encouraging them to go back to school? And I had a small argument somewhere where somebody saying, this person comes in, is a very young man, he cannot be an inspector, I've been serving. Who told these people not to go to school when they were joining the police service?
Maybe it was a poor planning.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why when we came with the reforms, we said, because you'll find a police officer who joined with Form 2, Standard 8, for example, long time, Standard 7. Some of them went through and they became very senior police officers, but they went back to school. So why are we denying these young officers who are coming in? Because right now, I think they have even suspended the direct entry inspector format. So why do you deny this officer who has come in, is willing to go back to school, using his own money because you are not even refunding, and then you refuse to pay him commensurate with the education? And that was the essence of police reforms. So I find it very strange that this is happening in a police service that Kenyans said must be educated, must have the technology, must have the knowledge to be professional.
Or maybe also the police have a rhyme and reason why they're doing this, because it seems a lot of these police officers, maybe also they enroll to be security agencies in this country, and then after this particular training also now they they actually move on to other, you know?
It does. Let me tell you.
No, that's all I need to know. Is there a contractual agreement maybe with the officers that, yes, if we take you through the system of education, maybe after even to the you know, to doctorate, then you will actually be in the service for this, you know, length of time. Then after that, then you can quit. Let's say from Dr. Kaneja, we'll come to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to finish.
You finish. You finish. That way. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah. What I was trying to tell you is, most of these officers, the money they are using is not from the police service. They're using their own money. So there's nothing to bind them in the police service. Number two, you must realize that even in the military, there are those who come in, they go back to school, they are taken to colleges, they become professionals, they become PhD, but you are bound for about 3 years to serve, then you leave. The police system, I don't think that's how it is. So if officers are going back to school, using their salaries and their loans, why should you deny them the capacity to move out and go and do other things for the country? Because that is how a country grows.
All right. Yeah. Okay, let's leave it at that. We have a caller who is a police officer, and of course we are going to withhold his name for security purposes. We'll actually link up with him much later. But let's say from Khanenje, and if you're a police officer, you're adversely affected by this, please let us know. You can call in. Our numbers are on the screen. Let us get to thrash out this particular matter this morning. Wherever you are in this country, please call in so that we can continue with the conversation. This is adversely affecting you as well. Dr. Khanenje.
Debarl, it is sad, especially when education is actually not rewarded. Now, you cannot expect a donkey to do calculus. If you deliberately decide that perhaps certain academic qualifications do not deserve certain rewards, then you shouldn't be surprised with the results you get, especially with the police force. Now, I would like to speak a little bit more on the larger question of the police. The truth is, these are people who are tasked with protecting us. They're tasked with a lot of things. They work at daytime, they work at night, even when we're sleeping. Part of the challenge, though, is anyone who's ever dared actually visit police residences or even police stations. A number of them look more like pigsties than actually residences for law enforcement people in this country. I happened to stop by about 2 months ago just at Kilimani police station, and the stench and the squalor that was coming from that police station, I do not have words to describe that on national television. And so that is something actually should be fixed. Now, having said that, it's also important, and a lot of Kenyans watching out there will actually agree, that there are as many Kenyans who've reached Canaan as those who've actually had a positive experience with the police. Part of the problem is we've not been able to train our police force sufficiently and effectively. A lot of them lack basic forensic skills, even in case of an accident or a homicide. You just see the way they handle things. And a lot of them, they forgot the motto of utumishi kwa wote, and any time there's a mistake, or let's say you are stopped because your windscreen is cracked up or something, what a lot of them are seeing, unfortunately, is an opportunity to get some money, as opposed to actually thinking, okay, this has happened, and look, you've broken the law, but this is what you can do, these are recourse. So we need to think seriously, actually, and especially about police reform that he's talking about, that the people we are going to admit to the police force, we not only train them, but we continuously train them, allow them to go to school, but at the same time compensate them sufficiently. But we cannot be admitting people who are technically, I don't want to call them failures because they're Kenyan citizens that are also hardworking. But if you have a D minus, for instance, in mathematics, it's going to be very challenging for you to be able to undertake certain tasks in forensics, for instance. And those people who have some competence and qualifications should be rewarded appropriately because they don't get paid very well. They live in squalid conditions. They are not motivated. That is something that needs to be changed.
And one officer who's not really motivated is hanging on the line. We will withhold his name this morning for security purposes. Hello, good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, you have a contribution, a question also, or maybe you can also take this opportunity to air your grievances as far as this conversation is concerned.
Yes, I have a contribution.
Yes, please.
I am one of those officers who have been affected by the salary cut.
Yes, please.
Let me talk a bit about community policing.
Yes.
But I want to inform you that the issue of community policing is as good as dead in the police service. You see, When I say so, this issue of community policing has been frustrated by the corruption that is in the police service. Because you see now the police are mainly concerned with what they get from their clients.
Yes.
And you see when you deviate from service delivery, and then you concentrate on issues of money or what you get from your clients.
Yes.
Then the issue of community policing, or rather that urge of serving people, then dies once and for all. Now let me come back to this issue of salary cap.
Yes.
You see what has been done in the police service. I want to say that it is very frustrating that the police service wakes up one day and slash salaries of the graduate police officers. But I want to get you a little bit back on this journey. There are those police officers who have developed themselves academically while they are in the service. There are those police officers who are enlisted as graduate constables. And you see, once somebody has developed himself academically and he attains a level of degree, he is now the job group is adjusted from job group F to job group J. And I want you to understand that the job group of a police inspector is job group J. What this means? It means that the salary of that officer moves from that of a police constable to that of a police inspector. I think where the crisis that we are having now
Yes.
is that for a number of years, we have been officers who have developed themselves for almost 7 years now. That number is growing. And you see the National Police Service has refused to promote these officers. We have what we call in the police service as a special station commander's course, which is normally taken by police graduates.
Thank you.
And you see, for our counterparts in the administration police,
Yes.
they have been promoting their graduates. As we speak now, in the administration police, we have less than 300 graduates. But in the Kenya police, we have almost 1,500 graduates. You see, the crisis is not even money, because even the government gives us that money today. The question you need to ask yourself, what will happen moving forward? Because we have, as we speak now, we have.
Yes, all right. Because of interest of time, we can't actually get the length of all that you have to give us this morning.
Yes.
But the question is, once more, maybe I should take this opportunity and ask you, are these courses that also you're enrolling also needed by the police service? Because maybe most of you actually are enrolling for courses that are not really in tandem with what the police service is requiring. So maybe why should you be given, is it supposed to be automatic that yes, if I go and maybe do something in a Bachelor's of Commerce, marketing, then I need to get an upgrade?
Yes, the number of courses that we have done, the largest number of police officers have done criminology and security studies.
Okay. All right, let's leave it at that. Thank you very much. We have also an inspector hanging on the line, and we will, his name is withheld as well for security purposes. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, you have a question or contribution, please, sir?
Yeah, I have a contribution.
Yeah, very briefly.
And this is what I would like to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue, we can hear you.
People who are enlisted in 2011. And in 2011, we were supposed to go for 15 months.
Yes.
And then the graduates were supposed to proceed for another 6 months so that he could come out as inspector.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we had to stay out then, and again we went back to the country.
All right, I will kindly you actually just tone down on the volume of your television. Don't listen to the television.
Okay.
Let's continue because it's interfering with our communication.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, just continue.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Continue.
Yeah, then, like now I'm attached to forensic in the DCI. And one thing that we are having a problem with, when we are in the DCI, when you are in forensic, you are taught a specific course. If you are in scenes of crime, if you are in document examination, if you are in criminal registry office,
Yes.
if you are in ballistics, you are taught a specific course. But recently there was a board that was done. And in this board, we were supposed to proceed to inspectorate board to chief inspector board. And then we were not able to proceed because we were being told that we've not done certain courses like advanced investigation courses and DCIS course, which is called the T course. But you see, we are experts and we've done our course in our own field. So we were wondering, if this is a course that is an advanced course for the investigators,
Yes.
this is a course that is an advanced course for the DCIOs, why are we being held outside that we've not done those courses? Yes, we are experts and we've done course in our own line of expertise.
Okay.
Because we have even people who have been taken even outside Sudan, we have other people who have been taken even abroad. But in the forensic, we are being told, you've not done this advanced course, you've not done this DCIOs course. Surely, can that be fair?
Right, good question. Can that be fair? And maybe just to also bring it into perspective, there was a letter that was written to the Commission on Administrative Justice, Office of the Ombudsman, and is dated the 31st of January 2018. And I think they laid out all these, concerns that the police has. This is an anonymous complaint against Kenya Police Service. I will just also rush down there. We are in a receipt of an anonymous complaint that alleges discrimination and administrative injustice within the Kenya Police Service in relation to salary upgrading and promotion of graduate constables and non-commissioned officers. The particulars of the allegations are as follows, and you allow me to just also try and load up for you that momentarily, very quickly, so that you can see some of these allegations that they've been put forth. Just to pick a smattering of them, first of all is one, that the Kenya Police Service unjustifiably and unfairly stopped the salary upgrading of graduate constables and non-commissioned officers from Scale G to Scale J in 2017. That contrary to the police in the National Police Service, the action, contrary to the policy, I should say, in the National Police Service, the action by the Kenya Police Service seems to target graduate officers who do not obtain a mean grade of C+ and above in high school, without considering the bridging courses undertaken and genuineness of their degree certificates. Also, that this discrimination is best demonstrated by signal sent by the then acting Deputy Inspector General of Police Service. And of course, you have the reference there, dated 18th January 2018, directing all graduates, police constables, I should say, and non-commissioned officers earning the salary of graduates to submit certified copies of their O-level KCSE and degree certificates to the headquarters for authentication by 8th of February. That the signal is a clear indication of the likelihood of the Kenya Police Service to reduce the salary grading of graduate officers who do not obtain a mean grade of C+ in KCSE, since the Kenya Police Service has not sought information on any bridging course the officers might have undertaken to determine the validity of the degree certificates. That the Kenya Police Service introduced a requirement for promotion to the effect that only those who were enlisted as graduates will be considered for promotion, thereby locking out many graduate officers who have even undertaken courses relevant to their work. That the action by the police service is discriminative and unjust, given the fact that the same has not been applied to graduate officers in Administration Police Service, whose salary has always been upgraded to Scale J on attaining degrees and later considering for promotion. Maybe I'll just leave it at that, because of course this is lengthy, but of course you've gotten the snippet of this. In light of what we have the officers complaining about, and this particular also letter that was written to the Ombudsman, you think there's a sense of unfairness in the entire system? Why would the APs really be considered, and other police officers also, they're shortchanged with this? So is actually the system more that we have poor structures, or what is now making this particular entire system dysfunctional? And of course, in light of this, also I need to say that this particular exercise has been suspended by the National Police Service because of the threat by the police officers to actually, resign. So they've suspended the salary cut until further, notification. So very briefly, I know this is not really right up your alley, most of you. And this is unfair because also we had sought also the indulgence of the National Police Service a spokesperson, Charles Owino, to be here with us. He promised, but now maybe because of the latest development, so there's no sense of actually having this discussion. But let's just weigh in as far as security is concerned as well. Very briefly, then we move on to other matters as well, because also we are strapped for time. Can we begin?
I think,
you were in the police reform.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why I'm coming back to the same organization we are talking about, National Police Service Commission. National Police Service Commission is the HR arm of the police service. One of the mandates that were given to do is to come up with all these things we are discussing about. Regulations, policies, guidelines that will inform how the police will grow from point A to point B. And I cannot understand how we are being told the APs are getting these things and the police is not getting it. Because all these people serve under the National Police Service Commission. And it's the National Police Service Commission that is supposed to guide and come up with policies that the Inspector General cannot countermand. So I think the biggest problem we're having, and I'm not privy to anything, but generally as we speak as Kenyans, we expect the National Police Service Commission to have done its job. I know at some point their powers were diminished through some amendments in the Act. I'm not averse to what exactly happened, but I know they still hold the position of being the HR of the National Police Service. And therefore it is them to come up with the regulations that are standardized for both services, Administration Police and the Kenya Police. So that these things should not be at the benevolent of any senior police officer in the service. It must come as a policy document. It must be related to them as a policy document from the National Police Service, and therefore it must be adopted as a policy document. So if we are seeing what we are being told, then I think we need to ask the National Police Service Commission what the problem is. And they should answer to the police officers exactly what the issue should be, instead of them. I know, yes, they have a command structure where they can report and complain and do all those things, but the buck stops with the National Police Service Commission.
All right, Mr. Kavuludi, Chair, if you, of course, listening this morning, we invite you also to this particular forum to talk to us. We've been giving you, of course, calls and text has never been responded to, and even if they promise, they never show up. At least this will be the forum to actually come and thrash out these matters and also help the country move forward in terms of making sure that our police officers are comfortable and they're happy, right? In light of housing and also insurance, if there's a salary cut, I think that is quite demotivating. And of course, we need security in this country, and they're paramount when it comes to matters security. Any of you that you have, you can actually weigh in, is first of all the National Police Service Commission doing also a poor job? We know from the go-getting, there was that row between, of course, the IG and the National Police Service Commission, or who actually should actually be handling the docket of, the human resources. Is the National Police Service Commission? And we saw there was a long, protracted, long-drawn battle between, some of the roles. You can actually allude to this fact, Dr. Burunga, isn't it?
Yes, and I don't think even with the amendments in law, they were never denied their role of being the HR arm of the National Police Service. Theirs is a policy organization. They bring out policies on transfers, they bring out policies on promotions, they bring out policies on welfare, they bring out policies on professionalization of the police service. So that is their role. And they're supposed to give policy documents that guide the National Police Service on everything that touches on the person serving the National Police Service.
Dr. Mustafa, we'll come to you.
Debarl, the current confusion that is there, and I wouldn't wish to wade into the confusion itself, it's important that the chairperson of the National Police Service Commission actually come and explain to the public what's going on. Now, the problem is either a lack of or non-existent policy, human resource policy within the National Police Service Commission itself, or if it's there, it's weak, or it's just not being implemented. Now, Kenya is a middle-income country. I challenge anybody to tell us which middle-income country in the world is paying its police officers 17,000 Kenya shillings. The second point here, Debarl, is the monies that I think the graduate police officers are asking. If we are to go by the numbers the previous caller stated, 1,500, we are looking at 30 million Kenya shillings, I think, per month. That's about 360 million Kenya shillings per year in the budget of the police. Now, 360 million Kenya shillings is something that 500 or so members of parliament and senators and their aides take in a single week in terms of not salaries, but allowances. So what is this that we cannot pay our police officers, and especially the graduate police officers, 40,000 Kenya shillings? There is no, we can afford that. It's just that we need to have resources move into that direction. And the police, National Police Service Commission should have very clear human resource policy to this effect. Reducing the salaries of police, something that they've been enjoying, doesn't go down well. And I want to speak from this podium, Debarl,
yes,
for the police, that we cannot treat the police in this manner. We have to treat them better. If we're going to professionalize the police, then education and training is key. And those who have, on their own volition, decided that they need more education, more training, let's reward that, Debarl.
Yeah, true. All right. So briefly, then we move on to others because we are stuck for time.
Just a quick note here. It is sad that one of the oldest professions in the world, in Kenya, there is no clear scheme of service. And yet, if you go to government, quite a number of schemes of service are there, whether it's, architects or whatever. Is it that we don't see security as a major issue, that we should have a clear scheme of service? I think much has been said about the National Police Service Commission. I hope this case will prompt them to sit up and look at this issue very seriously. The second one, a very clear indication of lack of understanding of international labor laws, the way it was even being implemented.
Yes.
And thank goodness that the courts have prevailed and stopped it. And we hope that this process will bring to light some of those things that have been brought out here. I mean, it looks like we are punishing excellence, that anybody that is improving themselves,
yes,
you want to go on regimental aspect of saying, okay, you are a constable, it doesn't matter what you have. I remember having served in the civil service some time back, but even then, there was very clear you would reward even somebody who has got a master's or some clear understanding of that subject.
Right.
And you hear the police are saying they have taken courses in criminology and the rest, but that is not being rewarded. I think it's sad. And the third point I want to make is there is very poor communication here. Communication with the officers, communication even with the public. I think there is a lot that we can say about this, and let's improve on it.
And of course, what they need to work out also is the issue of meritocracy,
Yes.
and also, the papers, the educational levels as well. So how do we, if I've been in the force, yes, I've not gone to graduate in so many years, but experientially, you cannot really compare me to a rookie who's actually having papers, right? So how do you weigh in on that? Yes, you have your papers, but I have the experience as well. Meritocracy, and of course also graduation as well. Very briefly,
education is central to professionalism of our police force, and we need to put that central. It is a pity to go to a police station and they're taking hours and hours writing with paper and pencil, which need to be gone by now. Yes. When we are merging on digital age.
Yes.
The only people who are going to manage this are graduates, and so we need to reward them. We need to know that these people put their life in line for us. They need to be looked at with pride and respect. That's what I like to say.
All right. Okay. Any closing statement on this, Werunga, briefly, before we move on to other stories? We've got only 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think because of my background, I understand what the problem is, and we've just mentioned that this is a young man who joined the other day, tomorrow is earning better than me. I've been in the police for 30 years. But the problem is this: you see, even the same disciplined force, education is very crucial. And therefore, if I joined yesterday and you've been there for 30 years and I'm coming, that's why people join in as direct inspectors, because education gives you the capacity to understand leadership and command. And therefore, if I go back and do my studies and I come and I earn better than you and you've been there for 30 years, it doesn't mean you're not good. It just means that this person has the capacity to understand things and do them better because of education, and therefore he understands command and leadership in a way that you may not understand. So from a practical perspective, I understand what some of them are complaining about. But I think the issue is this: we cannot stagnate because of people feeling that junior officers or young officers are bypassing them. If as a country we are developing, then we must encourage our officers in the police service to go back to school, study so that we have a police service that is evidence-based, information-based, and is about leadership and command.
Thank you. Thank you very much.